Church in the Accelerating Age, Part 2, Resonance versus Relevance. Life. Time itself is speeding up. Life is so full. Not necessarily full of meaning and purpose, but full of stuff. More and more programs, meetings, another Zoom call. And then there is stuff we feel we should be doing but don't have the time for. Reading, exercise, study, prayer. We feel guilty that we're not using our time well. Even fear that time is using us. Caught inside this, we can feel sick, like we have a time sickness. Maybe the issue with our churches isn't necessarily decline, but this time sickness. But what is time sickness? Let's take a closer look. The renowned sociologist and political theorist Hartmut Rosa can help us understand this sickness. No one has articulated the speeding up of our lives more clearly than Rosa. He explains that our time sickness is caused by the acceleration of three interconnected areas: technology, social life, and the pace of life. We are surrounded by an astounding array of technological acceleration. The advances in transportation, communication, and production keep multiplying faster and faster. More flights, more products, and more ways to communicate with more people at the same time. We can do more and be in more places. More and more is available to us. While this isn't at all bad, this can even feel good. It does impose a surprising guilt on us. So much is available to us by and through our technology, but we have little time to use it, or to use it well. This surprising guilt of not using our availability well makes us feel sick. We feel sick that we have access to all of Tolstoy's novels, but no time to study them. Access to all those New York Times articles, but no time to read them. So many opportunities to innovate, so much access to models for effective ministry, so many conferences, podcasts, and examples of pastors and congregations seemingly doing more and better. We feel sick that we have the tools to reach everyone in our neighborhood, but lack the time to do anything about it. And they seem too busy to care. This can make your stomach turn. Because our technology speeds up our communication, transportation, and production, it inevitably changes the way we live, particularly speeding up and shifting our social norms. The right way to talk and interact is changing quickly. The words and views that are acceptable are constantly shifting. Constant change in social norms is fueling what's called a culture war. We feel this in our congregations with people on both sides of this war. It's a huge challenge for pastors to keep a community together, where some are speeding up and others are falling behind. And many are just confused, dizzy with time sickness, overwhelmed with how quickly things have changed. It feels like cultural vertigo. You would think that the acceleration of technology and our social lives should, theoretically, give us back time. But of course, it's quite the opposite. Instead, acceleration demands we do more and more with our time. Time is now a unit in which we press to do more actions inside each unit. When someone asks, "How are you?" or "How's your church?" the reply is most often "busy," added with a list of all of our activities. Busyness does indicate being in demand, valuable, and doing well. That's alluring. Doing more, acquiring more, will bring me a life that is more full. But our busy pursuits remove us from living in the present. Our busyness so quickly can disconnect us from ourselves, from one another, from the world itself. We are so susceptible to losing connection, what Rosa calls alienation. Rosa warns, the danger, or cancer, of acceleration isn't speed per se, but the way speed alienates us from the world, from core human connection with one another and the world itself. This is the time sickness. It leads us to ask, when does our push for acceleration hit its threshold? Maybe it already has. On a larger scale, we are seeing rates of mental illness spiking, the environment in crisis, economic systems are unstable. So how do we respond to all of this? Many congregations are determined to speed up, to chase relevance. The best pastors are the fastest, the best congregations the busiest. To speed up, we need more fuel, more programs, more resources, more strategies, more volunteers, more tools, more staff. Acceleration becomes our strategy to get the church up to speed. But for most pastors and congregations, this approach leads to burnout because it's so alienating. Slowing down may help a little bit, like Advil to a broken arm, but it doesn't reset the bone. Slowing down isn't enough to address the depth of our time sickness. We need an invitation to be in the world in a different way. Pastors need permission to pursue this different way and to be released from the drives of acceleration. What if, instead of chasing relevance, we seek resonance? Rosa describes resonance as living in vital relation to that world, attending more closely to our relationships, to become attuned to the manifold ways that the world speaks to us. Resonance is re-engagement with the relational way of being, seeing our relationships as for encounter, never as instruments. It's guided by real connection, seeking transformation in the depth of community, being seen, heard, and embraced. It moves us beyond the traps of relevance, which are bound in controlling and having more, to embracing the uncontrollable mystery of God. Resonance can't be produced. It's always a surprising, transforming gift. But we, congregations and pastors, can create environments that invite resonance, places where we practice being over having, spaces that welcome deep encounters through stories, prayers, laughter, and friendship. In these moments, there is a mutual reverberation between the pastor and congregation, the congregation and the world, moving us into life. The pastor can then see her purpose as being a friend and guide into a journey of resonance, where we seek to encounter one another and the living God. Questions for reflection and dialogue. What pressures and tensions are you and your congregation experiencing due to the accelerating age? What does pastoral ministry look like when centered on resonance rather than relevance?